Hey everyone, it's me Gavin and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about my first impressions with version 2.2 of Genshin Impact, Into the Perilous Labyrinth of Fog. Now this is a patch that I honestly wasn't really overly hyped for. I did know that we were going to be getting the addition of a brand new island and everything, but that was pretty much the only thing that excited me, considering the fact that the rerun banners were for characters that I already have in my party. Now, the first thing I did want to talk about was actually the addition of the new island, which is known as Sarumi Island. Now this island's completely covered in fog and it's really hard to find things. It's really neat to see. A very welcome change to the atmosphere in my opinion, and lots of puzzles and treasures to uncover here yet again. They keep doing it with every single other patch, and it's absolutely awesome because it gives us lots to do. However, I will say that this island felt a lot more easier to explore and uncover all of the secrets than previous entries. So I will say that I got through these ones fairly quickly. I believe it only took me a couple of days to 100% it, and I know a lot of you probably already did that within the first day or two. And honestly, I can really agree with you guys that this feels like it's a lot more of a smaller edition for an explorable area. But at the same time, it is really beautiful, and there's a lot of history and everything going on with the story, which kind of brings me to my next point, the story that's introduced in the beginning of 2.2. In my opinion, I think that this was one of the most engaging quests that I've taken part in. I was really on the edge of my chair when it came to this story, because there were a lot of things that were hinted at and referenced that I've been wondering about for quite some time. And I won't spoil anything with this first impressions, but I will say that I highly encourage you guys to play through the 4 parts of this quest and really experience it, because it is very worthwhile, especially when you talk about the overarching story of Genshin Impact and the world of Teyvat. Now, one other thing I did want to say is the introduction of a couple of additional characters here really brought the story about in a very meaningful way, and the very first one, obviously, is Lady Sumida. This is the reason for us going to Sarumi Island. She's looking for the Mashiro, and this is just a instrument that she thinks that she heard, but she can't really quite reference the sound of it. So she tasks the traveler to go there and try to figure out how she can get the Mashiro and get it brought back to her, because she's already sent out other adventurers to try and get it, to no avail. Now, again, I won't spoil anything. Awesome story. Really love the character for Lady Sumida. She kind of tends to go off on tangents, and that's very relatable to me because I do as well. But one other character as well, Rue. Very, very awesome character. You kind of already know something's up with him from the get-go, but it's really, really awesome how they incorporate the story and really tie into his background and everything. And again, all of the other villagers and everything that are there that have pretty much been hinted at that they've been gone for millennia. So again, really strange to see things that are going on here. Very eerie atmosphere and vibe as well to this island, and very much appreciated. Again, a very big departure from other areas that we've seen. 2 additional things that come with the introduction of Sarumi Island are the fog mechanic, which pretty much makes you mind your surroundings to make sure that you're near some sort of light source, whether it be a campfire or a torch that you can light with an electro attack. Something along the lines of that, so that way you don't get lost in the fog, which pretty much means if you stray too far from a torch for too long, you'll end up getting kicked back to a certain area, and then you'll have to retrace your steps once again. And then the other thing that you encounter is a corrosion mechanic, which is applied by the 2 new enemies that are introduced. Now, these enemies are Rift Hounds, and they're really, really cool to see. I really love their design. Their attack patterns are really neat. They do a lot of dashing around, so it really makes you want to use a range character, in my opinion. But at the same time, that corrosion mechanic, which I'm sure you guys are probably familiar with by now, it is very intensive on your healers, and it really reduces the necessity for a shield user. So again, you may want to rethink your party makeups here if you want to handle this mechanic a little bit better. The corrosion mechanic reduces any of your party members' health down to a minimum of 15% if they're not active, but it will kill an active character if you stay with that in use for so long. So that's something you want to keep in mind. Again, make sure you're utilizing healers here. Now, moving on to the next point, I guess the thing that we'll get out of the way immediately here is talking about the rerun banners. Now, the very first banner that we do have as of this time of recording is for Tartaglia. Not really much else to say here. If you guys already have him, you guys know he's a great DPS character. I would highly recommend if you guys were able to get a Skyward Harp. It's fantastic on him. And if you're unable to, then his banner weapon's fantastic. And if you're not interested in pulling on any of those banners or getting those weapons, then probably recommend Rust as a really, really good alternative for him for a 4-star. But outside of that, the other banner that we will have coming here in the future is going to be a rerun banner again as well for Hu Tao, which is another fantastic character if you're looking for a really great Pyro DPS. And that banner also comes bundled with the addition of our new character for this patch, which is Toma. Now, the first thing that I do want to say about Toma is that I really love his character design and his demeanor. Just everything about his personality is absolutely awesome. And we actually get a hangout quest with him. And this is the next thing I want to talk about, the hangout quest with Toma. I was kind of thrown for a little bit of a loop here because it was involving pretty much housekeeping for the most part, at least 2 of the different routes here, and then the third one being something involving animals. However, I will say that I did really enjoy a lot of this because it gave us a lot more backstory to his character and kind of like the things that he's up to during the adventures. And it's really, really neat to see a lot of his interactions with the different characters in these scenes. And I will say there are some very humorous moments as well that made me honestly laugh out loud, so very much appreciated. Moving on to the next hangout quest, that would be for Sayu. Now, these ones were a little bit different as well, but I will say that I think I probably prefer these hangout quests over the ones with Toma. Sayu wasn't really a character that I overly connected with when she was first introduced, but I will say that it is very neat to see kind of what she's up to in these hangout quests, and it's really hard to talk about without spoiling anything, but let's just say she's set up to assassinate somebody, and again, all the events surrounding it, really, really fun to uncover. And lastly, we'll talk about the only event that's currently available right now, and that's called Tune to the World Sounds. Now, this is pretty much a rerun of an old event that we had, and this is just pretty much playing a music game / rhythm type game, very reminiscent of things like Osu or Guitar Hero or whatever. You guys know how they play. Anywho, based upon how well you do in terms of hitting these notes, which is very forgiving, mind you, you achieve a score, and this score determines which rewards you unlock. Again, this time, I guess the only real changes are just the aesthetic, and that's because you're playing a zither alongside another character, so you're performing in duets here. Each objective has a different character that you're playing alongside. Not really much to say about it. It's pretty standard, pretty straightforward. However, I do really love these kind of events, so I would like to see it return again in the future, or at least become something that's a little bit more of a mainstay. And maybe some new instruments, some new songs experienced, that'd be pretty cool. Again, this has been a fairly mediocre patch for me, but I am very optimistic for the future, especially if the storytelling keeps coming the way that it is. I will say that I am very much anticipating 2.3, especially with the teases for the new character, Arataki Ito. I'm sure you guys are also excited for that. If you guys are planning on wishing on that, let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, if you guys aren't subscribed to the channel already, now would be a great time to do so. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. I really appreciate it. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all for the next one. Take care. Peace.